Today I'd like to talk about some of the options that I've got for fingerboards. This isn't everything, but this is the selection of the Ebonies. And there are a few false Ebonies here as well, but we'll talk about that. So first, the obvious choice here, the obvious choice for most everyone is going to be a black ebony, the African Ebonies. These are getting in short supply. They've always been rather expensive. They're getting more so as the supply dwindles. So there's no reason I see for going with a completely black ebony, unless you want it to look like a plastic or a composite. I want to see wood grain on my instruments. It shows that it's real wood. And so I will go with what is called a lesser grade. What that means is that you can see the grain. To me, that's a plus. I don't see that as a minor grade at all. It has nothing to do with anything except visuals. So that's the African Gabon or African Ebony, whatever you want to call it. Now, I should say that the Indian Ebony is very much the same in terms of looks. The next thing that is happening in the market is that other ebonies are taking the place of the black ebony. And some of them are kind of interesting. This, for example, is Macassar ebony. It oftentimes is just the blacker color, but often has other colors associated with it. Now, ebony is supposedly just black and white, but obviously it's not. That used to be how it was classified in the old days before they knew about things like DNA. This does smell just like an ebony. It has kind of a bacony smell when you're working with it. Another example of the same wood, Macassar ebony, is this. It's a little darker, but still has the pinkish, almost Caucasian skin color to it in places. So, perfectly viable wood. There's no reason not to use it as far as I'm concerned. You may or may not like the visual aspect of it. Most people that have seen it have actually liked it when it's on a guitar. Okay, so the next one, which you probably haven't seen on a guitar and may never see on a guitar, is this black and white ebony. I've actually used this for bridges. It's quite striking the way the lines show up. This is again a true ebony, and it's become kind of a cult classic here with different kinds of woodworkers. Very expensive, especially if it's got the coloring like we have here with the wild landscape kind of effect. I just thought I'd show it just because it's there. I've got some that's fingerboard size if you might want one. I don't expect I'll get many takers. Now this again is a true ebony. This is called Mon Ebony. I believe it's from Indonesia or possibly Vietnam or someplace in the Southeast Asia. And this has a unique characteristic in that it looks very much like Brazilian rosewood. And so there's kind of a history of using Brazilian rosewood, at least on steel strings. And so this is a good substitute for that, except that it's much harder, wears much better than Brazilian rosewood does. It is, again, a true ebony. I really like this. I've got quite a bit of this, and I don't know of anyone else who does have any of it. It's unique wood. My only supplier for this is pretty much dried up. So what I've got left is what I've got, but there's, I don't know, maybe a dozen or so guitars left that I can make with this. Now, those are true ebonies, and there are other true ebonies as well. Those happen to be the ones that I have. Now there are some false ebonies, and even though this is actually called ebony. It's Texas ebony, and its scientific name is something like Ebonies ebony. I'm not sure that it's a true ebony. True ebonies are from the Diospyros genus, family, species. I'll have to look that up. This is extremely hard. It's a little bit waxy, actually. It has kind of a waxy feel. I've made one guitar with this, and I have quite a bit of this sitting around. Again, the yellow color is kind of off-putting to a lot of people, and to me especially as well. I like it a little darker. I don't want it to show dirt. Something like this, there's too much here, there's too much here. You can't get away from it. Maybe a really thin fretboard for steel string or ukulele or something, but not normally for classical. Last is what's often called royal ebony, which is not an ebony at all. It's wood from Mexico called catalox with a K. And this actually is a really excellent fingerboard wood because it's very hard. It has very few pores that you can see. It polishes it up really nicely. This is unfortunately the last fingerboard I have of this wood, although it's fairly easy to get a hold of. So if you don't mind a bit of dark purple on your guitar, this is a really good option, and usually quite a bit cheaper than the black ebony. But as far as I'm concerned, every bit as good, as durable, as wearing, and workable as the true ebonies. So there you have it. In terms of tradition, most people really want to go with a black ebony kind of fretboard. People think that in their mind that that's the better sale, the better value. And it's not true in a physical sense. It's really just true in a market sense and what people have convinced themselves of over the years. So those are the options that I have in the ebonies. There are a few other woods that aren't ebonies, that don't look anything like ebony. Although, you know, this doesn't look like ebony. And certainly neither does this. And does that really look like ebony? Not traditional ebony. But those are ebonies. And some of these that aren't ebonies, especially this one, catalogs, is really quite good. So that's what I have. I have quite a bit of it. I'm not going to be running out anytime soon, and I'm not going to have to order new stock anytime soon. In fact, I may not ever order new stock in fretboards. We'll see how many guitars I've got left in me.